myself situated here. Why is my mouse not working? Hold on just one moment. Just one moment. I like to see what's kind of going on through my laptop while I film. So let me bring up the video. Hit that. Okie dokie. Here we go. I think we're looking pretty good here as far as everything being lined up and straight. So hello everybody, this is Carla and welcome back to the studio. And now it is September 1st. So for those of you here in the US, happy Labor Day. This it's not only a holiday, but then it's also the 1st of September. And it's hard to believe we're already in September. And on the 1st of every month, I do a monthly Christmas card inspiration video. What I do is I do like two fairly simple duplicatable cards. It's to give you some inspiration if you want to start creating your Christmas cards early. And so the product that we're going to be using today, as far as it's a standalone stamp set, there's no dies or a punch bundled with it. And this is going to be in our new holiday mini catalog that is going to go live in 2 more days. So it is kind of late. It's about 11 o'clock here, Central Standard Time on September 1st. So the video's getting out there a little bit later because I was actually working on the projects today. But I am actually using new product. So some of the things that I'm using, there's like 4 items here actually that I'm using that is new. But the star of the show is going to be Gift of Joy. Now, what's kind of funny is that when I looked at what it was that I had used last month, it was a jar of joy that was a holiday stamp set that's in our online exclusives that pairs, it bundles up and pairs with the jar, is it the jar punch, jar builder punch, I think it is. And so yeah, it's just the first word of the name of the stamp set that's a little bit different. So last month it was Jar of Joy. This month is Gift of Joy. And so again, this is a standalone stamp set that's in our upcoming new holiday mini catalog. Again, that catalog is going to go live in 2 more days on September 3rd. And so I thought that this would be a great set to use for our Christmas card inspiration video for the start of September. Now, in addition to that, the other things that we're going to be using that are new as well, there is the real, what is this? The real red shiny ribbon. We're going to use this on our second card. So this is, again, this is in the new holiday mini catalog. And then these are the hues of blue flowers. These are part of, I believe it's the is it the Peaceful Garden, I think? There's a lot of new stuff, guys, so it's like trying to remember names of things. But I'm going to be using these embellishments, and then also in that catalog, these are the delightful decorative dots. So you have, I believe this is Poppy Parade, Timid Tiger, and I think Shaded Spruce, and there's 3 different sizes in there. Now, these 4 items, um, right now, when I have everything listed in the description, it's gonna have the item number, and then it's gonna be, it'll state that it'll be available on September 3rd. Now, because there's no link for me to provide to you for it, but what I will do, once that catalog goes live, I'll be able to add the link to these items. And then if you're watching after the fact and you would like to order these and you click on it, you'll be able to order them. It's just right now until that catalog goes live, I can't add the actual links to these. So the two cards that I am making, I did case these out of the holiday mini catalog, and I kind of changed it up just a little bit from what they have. So I don't think I actually need the measurements on this because it's fairly simple. So for my first card, I have a piece of basic white thick. It measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored it at 4 1/4. I have a piece of the Brights designer 6 by 6 designer series paper. So these are the patterns. These are in our annual catalog. This color is Granny Apple Green, and this piece measures 5.5 by 3. So what's nice about this is out of this sheet of designer series paper, you can get 2 pieces out of 1 sheet. Out of some scrap basic white, I have die cut this circle, and the circle comes out of the Stylish Shapes dies. And then out of another piece of scrap white, I stamped the bow using the Pretty in Pink ink, and then I fussy cut it. So again, there's no punch, there's no dies that go with this stamp set. Then on this is a piece of what is this? This is Summer Splash, and I had stamped with Versamark and heat embossed with white embossing powder, the Happy Christmas, and used one of the banner dies right here. That's out of the same set of dies. So these set of dies have been around for a little bit, and they are very versatile because I've used them quite a bit in all of my projects. So let me start off with folding and burnishing my card base. And again, I apologize that this is coming to you a little bit late and I didn't get it posted like earlier. It's been kind of a busy weekend, and I've been just trying to get caught up on things, and so hopefully I can have everything done on time this week. Last week, what was it, on my Throwback Thursday, that video actually should have been, what am I looking for? I'm looking for glue. Usually I like to have my videos, the pre-recorded stuff done anyway, done and recorded and scheduled to post at 5 a.m. on its particular day. And of course, when my Throwback Thursday, that's, again, on Thursday at 5 a.m. However, because it was a crazy week, I wasn't able to get that done in time. So it was actually Friday morning, and then I would say it was early afternoon or late morning that I actually got that video posted. I got it done and posted, and then I had to work on all the Friday night live projects, but got everything done by 5 o'clock my time. So so everything worked out good. And then of course it was a busy weekend, doing some things. And so yeah, I finally got these. Went together pretty quick. So I added glue to this piece of designer series paper, and I'm just going to adhere that to my card front. And I got a little bit to trim off, so that won't be a problem. Let me just get my little paper trimmer here, and I will line my card base up, kind of bring the arm down a little bit, and kind of line this up. And oops, I can still trim a little bit more there. I'm getting some of the card base, that's why I'm having a hard time cutting that. Okay. I cut that piece of designer series paper just a little bit longer, so that way I was sure that the paper would go from top to the bottom of that card. All right, so let me close up my glue. Yeah, so I was literally designing and doing everything to put together that Friday night live. Got that done by 5, took a shower, had everything done, so by 7 o'clock I was good to go. So yeah, when you end up doing things like that, which I suggest, it's not a good idea to be planning your stuff for a live the very same day. So yeah, so got that all done, and now it's just kind of trying to catch up and trying to get ahead of the game on everything. What am I looking for? Okay, so on this, this is like a really cool stamp set. So you have like your two-step stamping pieces on here. So you got your flowers and the leaves. So these two go with this image here, and then you got your fillers, you know, for all of your other pieces here. So really fun set. So on this circle, I want to bring in my Stampin' Pierce mat, since this is a photopolymer stamp set. And let me bring that in. And then let me get my blocks. Okay, and again, like I mentioned, on basic white cardstock, I stamped the bow using the Pretty in Pink ink, and then I fussy cut it. I did not cut out the insides of those loops, as you can see. That would have been just a little too much. And then again, the Happy Christmas, stamped that with the Versamark ink, and then heat embossed it with the white embossing powder. So those two pieces are done. So for the ink that I am going to use, I'm going to use Shaded Spruce and Granny Apple Green. So let me open this up, move that out of the way. Now I am going to create my wreath. Now they're not going to join. I'll show you how. The pieces aren't going to touch. So I'm going to stamp one half of it up on the top part of my circle, and then I'll flip it and I will stamp it right down here. And as you can see, the two pieces, they don't join, but that's okay because our little banner piece is going to go right over that. So we're going to close this up, and then let's bring in Granny Apple Green. And then we're going to take our more detailed leaves here, and we're just going to stamp right over. And you don't have to, I mean, it's not designed to where it's going to exactly like line up. So you just come as close as you can, and there you go. There is that wreath piece right there. Okay, let's close this up, and let's take this off, and I'm going to bring in my adhesive. Add some adhesive to the back. Bring in our card base, and we are going to place this right here. So I want the opening pieces there to kind of be straight, like so. And then on my Happy Christmas, I'm going to add 3 dimensionals to the back of this. Okay, and then we'll take this and place this right over the top of that, so it looks like it's one whole complete wreath. And then on the back of this bow here, I'm going to bring in my mini dimensionals, and it looks like I got, let's see, will that fit in there? Not really. So I need my scissors. And I have one little dimensional there, and then we're going to use some of these edge pieces. Hopefully that fits in there. Okay. And then we'll take our bow and we'll place that right there like so. And then for our embellishments, we're going to use the, this is the Hues of Blue Flowers. And I'm going to use these white ones right here. Let me get, you take your pick tool, and there's two different sizes of these. So I'm going to add one of the large ones, and then two of the smaller ones, like so. Okay, so there is our first card. So that one went together really, really quick. So there is our first card. Okay, so now let me bring in pieces for our second card. So the second card has a little bit more involved with it, but still, if you know, with this you can pre-cut everything ahead of time and then do like your die cutting, then your stamping, and then you finally do your assembling. So for this card, I have a piece of basic white. This measures a basic white thick. It's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of, this is where's the paper? Right here. It is the Country Woods 12 by 12 designer series paper. This paper was in our annual catalog last year, and it carried over this year. So this piece measures 5.5 by 4 1/4. Out of a scrap piece of basic white, I used the Stylish Shapes dies again. This time I used one of the squares, and I have die cut, there's stuff all over it, there's 6 of them that I have die cut. And then I have a piece of Pretty in Pink. This measures 3/4 by 2 1/4. Alright, so I'll start with folding and burnishing my card base. And then I'll take that designer series paper and I will adhere that to the front of my card. So let me get my liquid glue. And whenever I'm putting like a full sheet of designer series paper on a card base, I like to use the liquid glue rather than the stamp and seal, only because this way with the liquid glue it gives me a little bit of that wiggle room to get the paper in place, whereas if I use that seal, it tends to really stick, and then if you have to kind of shift the paper around, it's a little bit harder to do. So the liquid glue makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so there is our card base. I'm going to set that aside. Bring in my Pearson mat. And then let me get my stamp and scrub and clean off these stamps. Alright. Now, for this one, so we have an outline for our stocking, and then we have a filler piece. We have the outline of our ornament, and then we have the filler of that. And if you look at it, it either looks like a macaron or it looks like a hamburger bun. That's what it looks like to me. Okay, then we have a detailed topper to our gift. We have the filler to our gift. We have the outline to the gift. And then there's this little itty bitty line that is for our ornament hanger. Let me see, do I got everything? And then we got a greeting that says, wishing you a season wrapped in love and tied up with joy. So that's all we need as far as the stamp goes. Now we need lots of colors here. So let me get my blocks here and get all my stamps on my box. And let's see. Ornament, ornament. And then we got gift. And I need more different size blocks here. Because what I got left are larger ones. Okay. And let me move that over there. Okay. And then got that. Got our greeting. And then we have our little very small, and I'm trying to get it to stick on the right side. Okay, so for the outline on everything, I am going to use basic gray. And then let's see, so on 2 of my blocks I am going to stamp 2 stockings. Okay, we'll set those aside. And then we are going to do, let's see, we're going to do a gift. And which way do we want this to go? And put our gift right here. Actually, we got 2 that we're going to do. Okay, and then there is a bow for the top. So I'll stamp that twice. Like so, we'll set those aside. And then we have for our ornaments. So for the ornaments, I'm going to do the little hanger first. So let me bring in, let's see, a piece of scrap paper here. Okay, so on one of them, I'm going to come up a little bit with it. And then the other one, come down. And then this one, come down a little bit further, and then this one will be up higher. Okay, and then our outline ornament. We'll stamp one right here, and the other one Yeah, the other one there. Okay, so now we got all of our outline images done. So now let me bring in all the colors that we're going to use for the filler. So we got Pretty in Pink, Timid Tiger, and Granny Apple Green, and Shy Shamrock, Poppy Parade, and Coastal Cabana. All right, so for our gift packaging, we are going to bring in Poppy Parade. All right, and I want, let's see, which do I want? I want this one. Okay, we'll do inside one of the gifts like that. And I'll clean this stamp, and while I got this color open, I'm going to stamp the greeting on the Pretty in Pink piece. Okay. Yeah, I'll stamp that right in the middle. Okay, so there's our greeting. All right, and then for our other gift, we're going to do Granny Apple Green. And we'll stamp that right there. Okay. So let me kind of move some of these out of the way so I don't get ink all over everything. So we stamped all those. All right, so then let me bring in the stockings. And one of the stockings will be in Coastal Cabana. Okay, and then the other one is going to be in Shy Shamrock. So let me clean this really quick. Okay, and let's bring that in. It looks like it's a little inky. That will dry a little bit lighter. Okay. And then let's bring in our ornaments. Okay, so one of these is going to be in the Timid Tiger. So there is a right and a right way to put this. So you want the flatter piece to be on the bottom. The one that's more rounded on top, that's going to be on top. So Timid Tiger. Okay. And then our last set are going to be in Pretty in Pink. Actually, clean this really quick. All right. Okay. All right, so it's not going to line up perfectly in there, but it's to kind of give you almost like that watercolor look. All right, so while those are drying just a little bit, I want to quickly come in and clean all these stamps so we don't accidentally end up getting ink from our stamps onto our cardstock. And one more. Okay, so I kind of got to move these things out of the way actually, because the next thing that we're going to do is going to kind of make a little bit of a mess, and I don't want my ribbon strands or whatnot to kind of stick to my blocks. Alright, so the stamping is done. So let's take our images here, and I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet, and I'm going to add adhesive to the backs of these. Okay, so let me kind of flip these around so I can see which ones they are. Okay, so we're going to place them on our card base here. So I'm going to take this one, kind of add it about there, and I'm not going to completely press it down quite yet. And then I want my, this is the Coastal Cabana one. And then we got our Pretty in Pink ornaments. And then we have, I'm leaving a little bit of a gap in between these. And let's see, we got our red gifts. And then our Shy Shamrock, what do you call it, stocking. All right. So let me put that in there like so, and we'll press these down. And then I'm going to bring in the ribbon. Oh, my lower back is getting a little stiff at the moment. So I had done the sample card. Now, to make it go a little bit easier, in my sample, I had, hold on a second. Let's just don't get off there. Okay, what did this thing just do? Hold on. Hold on. I don't know what this thing's doing. All right. So in my sample card, and this is what they had shown in the catalog with that sample, they had taken a piece of this ribbon and they actually cut it into 3 strips. So I had done that. So the thinner of them, I ended up creating the bow, and then the other 2 pieces, I took them and I kind of wrapped them around and I kind of taped it down just so it would stay stuck to the front of the card base. But as you can see, when you cut, that strands do start to fray a little bit on the edges. So what I am going to do with this one, I am going to actually just leave it as one solid piece, and then when it comes to the bow, I will take that and I'm going to actually tape this down this part here in the middle, it's going to be covered up with that greeting piece right there. So I'm just going to take a little piece and we're going to go right here in the middle. Stick that down. Hopefully this is not going to be wider to where you don't see it. Okay, and then we'll take this piece and we'll wrap it around like so. Bring that down. Just kind of have it a little taut. And we'll stick that right there. Just to kind of hold it right there, and then I'll get my scissors and I'll trim that like so. And then I will take my greeting piece, get a couple of few dimensionals here, and add those on the back there. And then I will stick this right over that here in the middle. Just get it straightened out here. And I will place it right there over the ribbon. And then let's create a bow here. So I am going to take, let's see, take a piece about that long, and then what I'll do is, instead of doing like 3, I'm just going to try to go right up the middle of this, and hopefully my piece is going to be long enough for me to tie my bow. Okay, move the ribbon out of the way. That, since we only need one, and then I'll tuck this under like so, and then we'll tie a bow. You can see that this ribbon, it does fray fairly easily. It's going to be a little bit of a struggle here to tie this bow. So when worst comes to worst, when something like that, if you struggle on tying a bow, do a knot. Like so. Then we just trim like so. So I can do a knot instead of a bow. So here's the difference. There's the one where we cut the ribbon in 3 strips, and then one of the thinner strip I tied a bow around those 2 strands that I wrapped around in the card. So here's just by doing the one single strand wrapped around and then just another piece to tie a knot rather than a bow, only because I didn't cut that that piece of ribbon long enough. So here are our two cards for our monthly Christmas card inspiration using the Gift of Joy standalone stamp set that will be coming out in with our what is it, our September through December holiday mini catalog that will go live on September 3rd. So just 2 short days and it will be live for everybody. So I have done a haul video showing all of well, most of all of the new product that's going to be in the holiday mini catalog and in the September online exclusives. I actually recorded that not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. So if you want to check out ahead of time some of the new stuff to see what it looks like, kind of like up close before you know, placing your order, or you know, it looks a little bit different, you know, in person than as it does in a catalog. Again, that's already been posted. That was done not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before on the 23rd of August, if you want to check that out. So with that, everyone, this is September's monthly Christmas card inspiration. Come October 1st, I will have another video for you, giving you a little more inspiration for doing your Christmas cards. This coming Thursday, I'm going to be doing my Throwback Thursday, and I'll be featuring, it was an online exclusive that retired not all too long ago, called the Resourceful Rusty Stamp Set. I will be using that, and then on Friday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be going live and I'll be featuring the Pet Love Bundle. Now, that's a new bundle that is for all the dog and cat lovers out there, and that will be a new bundle that is in the online exclusives coming out in September. So hope that you'll be able to join me then. And again, those of you here in the United States, hoping that you had a wonderful Labor Day weekend and Labor Day. And I will see you in the next one. So everyone be blessed. Bye bye.